Melissa, tell us about this conversation with trees you had.
Yes. So there are a few things that I've consistently been drawn to throughout my life, and trees is one of them. And so being able to just be out in that area, it's more than grounding for me. It is like spiritual for me. So I started out my walk just giving gratitude and thanking the trees for the shade and everything, and I gave like just mentally like dropped like an emerald just as a like here's a little energy thank you, and that got them talking.
I love that.
um and so first thing I was asking is like what would you like us to know, because everybody's worried about the planet and all this stuff. And so they said we're good, like trees, we are good, we are fortunate to be where we are, to have such respectful people come into our area. And so they were just really grateful for that, recognizing that not everywhere has that. And um, they it kind of progressed into a okay, at one point you were one of us, and I'm like, whoa, I like trees, I don't think I've been a tree before. And so they were showing me very early on in the planet, when the planet was starting to life and vegetation and just growing. And they were basically saying there were and I'm not sure if they were talking about trees as elemental energy. I didn't get that feeling. I felt like it was more like a I want to say spirit, but when the trees were moving around. And so then I'm thinking about Tolkien and the trees that was. And I'm like, I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But then they also were like, it wasn't necessarily the physical form, it was this spirit. And it was basically, it was the creation energy of the forest being built, if you wanted to put it that way. And they said, well, you were a part of that. That's where, I mean, I it was a great conversation and I liked where it was going, but I'm not sure if, like I said, with that spiritual and that creation element, if that was elemental energy, as or like trees are considered earth, or if there had been a time where trees actually moved across the landscape. So I just wanted to hear what you guys felt coming through for that.
All righty. Okay. Do you want to start, Danica?
Just feel like they're in a category of their own, is what I'm feeling.
What about you, Ariel?
That's what I was feeling also. It almost feels like they're their own race. And as far as moving, in essence, the way that I saw it was almost like how hermit crabs move shells. And so almost like the transference of energy from one tree to the next. That's how they were allowed to travel, was through trees. Or yeah, one through another, long striding.
Well, and to the question of creation aspect, so when I feel that vegetation in and of itself is like its own, like there are teams that work just on that. And when I say teams, I mean like creator energies that would not be elementals. It's more like organizers, sort of blue, like the ones that lay the architecture, like the blueprint of the DNA, the how it's supposed to function, how it's supposed to structure. So that's more of its own set. And then I believe that with trees, they're showing it like a hierarchy of how much do you allow yourself to be used to the benefit of other things and species, right? So trees are one of the largest providers for other entities to have their entire lifespans on. And so when you think of Mother Earth and how important it is each tree is a Mother Earth to some, well, probably a multitude of small energies all the way to birds and the larger things. So they're just saying that because of that, it almost like it elevates them as a status that's closer a little bit to God, like a godhood, because of how much they do, how much they are literally the lifeblood of these other things. So when I look for your origin, when I look for the origin point of what you were about here, I've always felt that there's a huge amount of structural like attention, right? Because I've always felt that you laid. I always just like in a white lab coat, literally, like almost like, and this is where that for like you just had more of a planning relationship with a lot of this stuff. I feel. I don't know if any like. What do you think, Ariel?
That's what I. For some reason, do you know that movie, the Monty Python, where like shrubbery? That was what came to mind when you were asking if you had been a part of the trees. And I guess when I think about it more, you can take the shrubbery and you can cut it and shape it to any way that you want, but your limbs will grow back. And can you propagate shrubs? Like, if you cut them?
I don't know that you can do it with shrubs, but there are large
Other.
plants that you can do that with. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would make more sense than if you were able to propagate yourself and others to spread more of that and be able to like, lay the foundation for others. And going back to the trees, like having their own life force for others, it was almost described like an ecosystem. Each tree has its own ecosystem.
And they were reminding me of the I forget the author, but the poem book, The Giving Tree, that, you know, it's everything that they, yeah, it's like what you were saying, Sophia. It's just not very many tangible things with creative light force can match the reach that trees have for us.
Is that the one where it's like it's the story of the guy who is by the tree and then like, yes, I was literally, that was playing in my head while you were talking earlier. And then I was like, it ends so sadly, doesn't it?
Well, kind of.
I just
But
remember like wanting to cry because it does feel wrong.
Yeah, because he's basically the tree's like, and when I am done, use my body for,
Yes.
you know, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like fuck.